out. And let me now go to my normal Facebook. And good morning, world. We're going to tag some of our usuals. Going to tag some of our usuals to, get some support and, hopefully get a few likes, things like that. And that's kind of how we build this thing up. So, all right. All right. So, good morning. Good morning. Let me see something additionally. Just want to see it on my end. Having a video. Okay, so it is playing. All right, so good morning, world. And welcome to the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that has taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It is always a blast to have you all tune in and participate with us every weekend. And so as a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast page, on Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts is the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price and Jamar Goodman. Today is June 26, 2021. We have yet again seen an interesting week in the sports world. But we have seen the Milwaukee Bucks end the next season. Jamar, was it due to injury? Could there have been better coaching from Steve Nash? Additionally, we've seen the Sixers collapse and their season come to an end with huge criticism raining towards Ben Simmons. And some that directed towards Doc Rivers because of his resume with, playoff performances outside of Boston. So I'm interested in your take, Jamar, on Mr. Ben Simmons' future in Philadelphia and beyond, possibly. We saw the Phoenix Suns continue their impressive run, winning 9 out of their 10 last playoff games, minus the exception, of course, of Thursday night. Can the Clippers, in this case, make adjustments again for the third time this playoff after being down 0-2 and make this a series? Lastly, we have seen a couple black head coaches hired in the NBA. And now it's rumored as well that Chauncey Billups, Jamar, is becoming a lead candidate in Portland, as well as our Chicago Sky, my Chicago Sky, began to look like the team we thought they'd be now that Candace Park is back on the court. And so with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. It's Saturday. Let's get to it. Yes, all right. Sir. So let's get to it. Let's begin to talk about this Bucks-Hawks series. We've seen, a lot of good competition in this series thus far. Well, at least let's just say as of game one. But we saw last night that the Bucks put the clamps on Trae Young, made him look like what I thought he would look like game one. But he came out with a 48 performance in game one, 48 points. But last night the Bucks just blew him out the water, and so it kind of tells me something right now. But just your thoughts thus far from this series, and after that we're actually going to make a pick for this series. So let's get into it. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, so in game one, we saw the Hawks at their best. In game two, we saw Milwaukee at their best. And we know that there are levels to this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Atlanta has been like incredible this whole playoffs. They took care of business in the Garden against the Knicks. They definitely like killed the process in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Got that team in shambles right now.
He said killed the process.
It's dead. And so,
Mm-hmm.
in Milwaukee in game one, they basically like they trying to put the whole NBA on notice at that point. But the Bucks made adjustments and came out and was physical with the guy. Like you said in game one, 48, 46 points, was just like on fire. Was nothing that they could do. He's over here shimmying, hitting threes, and throwing oops off the backboard. Like this man was
Looking
living his
like
best
and
life.
one out there, ain't it?
Man, dude, like it was phenomenal. And then Milwaukee said, "Pump the brakes. We got something for that." And so they got physical with the boy.
Right.
Not only he only had 15 points, he had 9 turnovers.
Mm.
And so defense was a little bit more physical with him. Milwaukee actually was starting to hit threes. I'm pretty sure they shot 15 to 41 behind the arc. Giannis only had to drop 25 points. He got contributions from quite a few players. Lopez with 16. Middleton had a pedestrian 15, but Jrue Holiday had 22 and shut down Trae Young on the other end.
Right.
What I know so far in this series is that Atlanta will have to play A+ in order to win games. Because even with Milwaukee not playing the best in game one, like they just squeaked by type thing. In game two, when Milwaukee is playing at their full strength and playing like the team that we think of them and the team that they're supposed to be, that Atlanta does not have enough to beat Milwaukee. And I'm pretty sure in the regular season, like Jrue Holiday gave that man fits, and the Milwaukee Bucks gave that team fits overall. So right now, Milwaukee, I'm feeling good. Atlanta, I mean, I'm hoping to defend home court all the way through, because if Milwaukee gets at least one in Atlanta, I mean, I believe this is definitely a wrap.
Okay. So you mentioned at least one in Atlanta. And so as your brother, I'm kind of sitting on the opposite end of you. And the reason why is because they are going to Atlanta. It's not Milwaukee in this case, bro. We know how in playoff basketball, how things change on the road. They change tremendously. Football is one sport where you can get a lot of momentum on the road. Basketball, Atlanta has really been one of the top teams, bro, as well as Phoenix, which literally kind of have been some of the top 2 teams thus far in their performances on the road this entire playoffs. And so I look for Atlanta to bounce back in Atlanta. I'm not saying, Jamar, that they will go and they will sweep and go 2-0, but I think this thing definitely be heading back to Milwaukee 2-2. And the reason being is Atlanta is just going to be home. Ice Trae is going to be Ice Trae at home. All role players play better at home. A streaky team such as the Bucks, this is their problem. I think me and Jamar, the Bucks really, Giannis takes them where they need to go, but we know that Chris Middleton is really their key. Chris Middleton has to be the one to perform. He lost in the game one. 6 of 23 from the field, a pedestrian 13 points. I even have more points in game two. And of course, you kind of expect him to, because he's like a roller coaster type of guy. Very volatile in his performances. And that's been the Bucks' issue. I think, man, you stated that they probably beat the Nets in 6 if he is consistent with his performances. You know, he was the guy that hit the game one against Miami, hurt their heart and put them in detriment. And let's keep in mind, me and Jamar know as basketball fans on Miami was not no pushover. And so, you know, they have their hands now forward with little Trae Young and all his supporting cast. And one thing about Atlanta, bro, as we know, is Atlanta can score points. They can score buckets. This team just can score. This future is so bright in Atlanta. They get another superstar, bro. It's really cracking in Atlanta because the team they got already right now can score with anybody. Anybody, does not matter. They can put up points with anybody. And so, as far as I see it, if they can't neutralize Trae Young, they won't win the series. But if they can neutralize Trae Young, Jamar, they win the series because the rest of the supporting cast can do what they can do. But the biggest issue with them is that Bogdanovic is kind of limping now. He's not really where he needs to be. And the rest of the guys, they'll put up points, but it's sort of limited. And so with that home court, this is the biggest factor here. I think Atlanta actually come back, bro, game 3 tomorrow, and they take this from Milwaukee. And I expect Milwaukee to kind of bounce back game 4. As far as this entire series, this entire playoffs, Trae Young, for me, man, outside of Kevin Durant, has been the second best player. And then we put Devin Booker at a 2A. These 3 cats this whole playoffs has been nonstop, but it's even the same with Phoenix, bro. We saw with the Clippers, and we'll get in that shortly. If Devin Booker don't show up, the Phoenix Suns don't show up. He didn't show up in game 2. Simple as that. They got whooped. And so this is going to be an exciting series, world. I don't think it'll be a butt whooping. I do see it possibly going 6 games. You know, I think the Bucks are too strong just because they have multiple options, but the defense is just special, at least when they clamp down. We didn't see that game 1. If their defense is not special, Jamar, the Hawks will beat them. If their defense is not special, the Hawks will beat them, period. People have been sleeping on this team, disrespecting this team. I thought they were a first-round playoff exit. I legitimately did. I thought the Knicks were out-toughing them. Nobody can neutralize Trae Young. The guy's going off for 40, 50 points pretty much every night. And so if he gets an early start, Jamar, and he gets about 10 points in that first quarter, watch out for the rest of the game. Because in the third quarter and the fourth quarter is where they do their blitzes. This is where they get their points. This is where they do their runs. And so the Bucks, as great as they are, they can't afford inconsistency against the Hawks. You better be consistent, and you better play the way you played last night, because if you don't, the Hawks will take advantage and they will beat you, period. So that's my thoughts.
All right. And so, so you ready to make this series pick?
Let's make this series pick, man.
All right. And so, I mean, you have valid points, but I'm definitely taking the Bucks in this series.
Mm-hmm.
It might go, I say in 6, but it might go 5, in my opinion. And I mean, you made valid points, but here's the thing. Like, so, you know, he said if they neutralize Trae Young, I mean, he was neutralized last night. I don't think any other team in the playoffs has neutralized that man so far. And it comes, for me, how long this series goes is on Budenholzer, the coach of the Bucks. He's the weak link for the Bucks. And so
over Chris Middleton?
Yeah, over Chris Middleton.
Okay,
and
I can say that over Chris Middleton.
Particularly in this series,
man, he's a big issue.
I get it, but in this series, like, I don't think his inconsistencies is as big of a factor as it was last series. The fact that he's only dropped a total of 28 points in this series so far, and the Bucks routed them last night. It's like the Bucks can get contributions from Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez and still dominate this series along with Giannis. And so, as long as the perimeter defense of the Bucks that they have, assembled and brought in and put together, comes and shows out and make it difficult for the Atlanta Hawks to make those shots that they were used to making.
That's the key to this series, bro.
because Atlanta was not making shots. If Atlanta doesn't make shots and the game slows down, you play half court basketball. That entirely favors the Milwaukee Bucks. In transition game,
But
they don't really have a clear cut advantage.
Transition it favors the Hawks because you would see Jamar when Chris Middleton in game 1 go down and shoot a dumbass shot, Atlanta comes straight down bucket.
But it favors the Hawks, but I don't think the significance of them, they're basically them being favored isn't as big of a gap as it is in the half court offense, because Milwaukee can be just as dangerous in transition, especially if you give Giannis the ball and he's just putting pressure on your defense to make a move. He is putting pressure on your defense. Yes, Atlanta can definitely go down and get a quick bucket of 3 or just create havoc in a transition, but Milwaukee
or get a foul or something like that.
Right. But if it's strictly half court basketball, it is extremely difficult for the Atlanta Hawks.
Right, because they're too big. They're too athletic, too strong, and that really imposes. This is why LeBron, I stated, this is why if LeBron and AD stayed healthy, they easily win the West this year. Too big, too strong, too physical, all these other great things. After a while, the human body just weighs down. It does. And in basketball, what greater sport to expose in cardio than basketball, for real? And so it's one of those sports that you get exposed. And it's another sport where if you get hype. And so Drew Holiday, man, I don't know what the hell happened to him game 1, but he stepped up in game 2 because Trae Young had him on ice. And I'm sitting there like, jeez. Like, I was expecting Milwaukee to defend. What happened? But
that's the key. They didn't defend. They didn't make adjustments in game. Budenholzer is trash at making adjustments in game. Maybe after the game for the next game, he's okay.
Right.
Adjustments, he's trash. And so Drew Holiday had a great offensive game 1, but didn't play any defense. He had a pretty solid game offensively last night and played some defense. And you saw that's the biggest difference. As long as he comes and plays defense, Atlanta's gonna have a hard time getting the buckets that they're used to getting. They gotta hit shots. If you're not hitting shots, it's a wrap.
Yes, I'm totally with you. This series, it all breaks down really at the end of the day to Milwaukee's defense. If Milwaukee defends, there's nothing Atlanta can do, bro.
It's a wrap. It's a blowout. If they have a hard time defending, then the game's going to be closer, and then Atlanta has a chance. Atlanta is not going to blow them out. That's just not happening. But Atlanta has to play a perfect game in order for them to win games in this series. That's my point.
Right. And additionally, one thing with Atlanta is if you give this team life, that's the thing. You can't give them life in Milwaukee. You give them life, they're going to eventually take advantage.
You got to put them away.
You have to bury this team. If not, tell you, they've done it plenty of times this playoffs. And one thing about Trae Young is that he can catch fire. We always talk about these generation of superstars, right? But I'm really excited, man. Just quickly, I'm excited for the Atlanta Hawks future. I'm excited for the future of the NBA, bro, because we got Trae Youngs, we got Devin Bookers, we got DeAndre Ayton's, we got, Donovan Mitchell's, Jamal Murray's. We got some young superstars, some Zion Williamsons. We even got the kid from Charlotte LaMelo. We got so many young ballers that's in the league that will keep the reins of this league going once LeBron and KD is gone. And so even Kawhi, And so it's phenomenal to see, man. It really is. But very, very, very important to see what my man Trae Young does. He is key. If he is locked up, Milwaukee wins the series. If he goes off and he goes off, then Atlanta has a chance. But if he goes off and Milwaukee is consistent and Chris Middleton is scoring, they still beat Atlanta. So Atlanta has a lot to climb in order to beat the Bucks, but it's just really, and at the end of the day, kind of ROIs the Bucks. So, all right, excellent analysis, bro. Game 3 of that series is tomorrow night, and my pick for this series will be the Milwaukee Bucks because I feel at the end of the day they will neutralize Trae Young. I got the Bucks winning in 6. I think that the home crowd in Atlanta, bro, is going to show up. They are. And, when it comes to basketball, there's always something special about the home crowd. And, people often come out missing shots, things of that nature. So I think, if Milwaukee don't come out focused game 3, Atlanta will beat them. If Milwaukee comes out focused hitting their shot, Shamar, they have a very good chance of beating Atlanta. But they'll still have to watch the second half surge from the Hawks because this Hawks team can score. They're going to score regardless. And they won't have a night like they had last night. You can't battle them just every night and think that Atlanta's just going to miss shots like that. Not that team. They will bounce back tomorrow night, I feel like. But I feel like the Bucks will overpower this team. It will be a scare. It will be a scare throughout this series because great offensive teams and great guards present scares against anything. So I think this will be a fun series. But the Bucks, I think, they focus like we state that they have to do and do the things that we stated they have to do. They will win this series. They shouldn't lose the series. We'll see, though. All right. Trae Young's hot playoff streak. So we see what's going on with Trae Young hot playoff streak right now, man. Have you been impressed?
Absolutely.
Of course. and so with his playoff streak, is this just another Jamal Murray, Jamar? Or is this something that will continue throughout his career, you think?
I think it's I definitely believe it's a long-term thing. Funny thing is, so the picture I sent you yesterday, you and Deshaun, about Trae Young and him being the number one option and stuff like that compared to Kyrie Irving.
Right.
I got a response on that because I posted that to my story. And basically he was basically comparing, how you can easily compare Trae Young to Steph Curry. They're similar in a lot of ways. And
right.
He was like, I got a hot take that Trae Young is going to end up, I guess, having a better career or higher ceiling than Steph Curry. And
Steph Curry?
Yeah, that was a hot take. I was like, okay. So explain. And then he was saying, well, what does Steph do well? I'm like, well, besides, shooting, but if you get a little bit deeper into it, shoots from range, shoots off the dribble, shooting efficiencies, like
breaks you down off the dribble.
Breaks you down, like ability to get open and catch and shoot as well, different things like that.
There's a lot of great things.
And so, his point was like, okay, so do you say that Trae Young is, elite or, top tier in those categories? I'm like, top tier, sure. Elite, no, because the main difference between Steph Curry and Trae Young is the efficiency and the shooting percentage between the two. Steph Curry hits them at a higher clip right now than Trae Young.
Trae Young shoots a lot. That's true.
So it's just more so, Trae Young has incredible upside. Trae Young is it's limitless potential. It's all world. But his main point was, what if Trae Young had a Klay Thompson with him? Like, how much better would Trae Young actually be? And that's a valid point. So if you actually get a good running mate that can just shoot just as well, that can also apply pressure and take pressure off of Trae Young, then how much better will Trae Young actually become? And so between his own potential and actually getting the right help with him, that next piece for them to go over the top, we are going to see maybe a new passing of the torch into him eventually, maybe 5 years down the line. But
right.
So I think it's definitely better than a Jamal Murray who came on the scene last year and definitely balled out. I think Trae Young is more consistent at that. I think Trae Young has a bigger impact on his team and on the game than most guys out there. And that's what's going to separate him into superstardom quickly, and which we are seeing before our eyes.
Right. One thing about Trae Young is he gets his teammates involved, right? This is what I love about it, is that even though he takes over the game, is like John Collins. The boy can ball. I love that kid. And he will posterize you. He's a rough rider. I love this kid, John Collins. This Bogdanovic cat can let you have it. Gallinari, we sleep on him so hard. I know he looked like grandpa out there, but the man can shoot your lights out. And he does. He quietly will put up 10 or 15 points on you. Like that. You don't even notice him scoring, really. You got, just other pieces in Atlanta with fellas that can bring somebody, bait somebody into the hole, and he can block their shot, or he can go up and get that rebound, and get that layup like he did in game 1 off the backboard. He can do those things. So Atlanta got a lot of heart. They got a lot of rough riders. So what helps Trae Young is he has a really good nucleus around him that's really young. And that's why I say I'm really excited for that team's future. I'm agreeing with you, man, that his career, his ceiling is long-term. I think as long as he can stay healthy, man, being the littlest guy on the court, one thing you can do is just be physical with him and try to slow him down by being physical. But, if he can get his shots off, he's going to score the ball regardless. Because he's so lethal. He can hit you with so many different ways of scoring. He can shoot from the parking lot. He can break you down like Steph Curry. He can hit the floater from the free throw line. He can hit it from 15 feet. He can hit it from 3 feet. It does not matter. He will still score the ball. He can hit you off the backboard. Did you see the pass he did when he was on the sideline, bro? And he was on the corner 3, and he went behind his back. And Drew Holiday started looking the other way, and he got you that way, and then went around and then just hit for the layup. Yep. And then he did it again, and then everybody went towards him, and he went up the sideline, and then of course threw the oop to Capella. This is how he can kill you, because you get so baited into him, and then he also gets you brought that pick and roll, right? Brook Lopez, he got exposed so bad, because if Lopez do anything, right? Lopez so big, and a lot slower than Trae Young. They do the pick and roll, but Lopez is somewhere in the center of the court, damn near by the rim. This is a wide open shot for Trae Young, right? Take that, boom, all day. But if Lopez said, I ain't finna hide this, I'm finna step up. Oh, okay, cool. Well, you do that, then I'm gonna go right around you like a little Mighty Mouse, and somebody step up, I'm gonna float it, or if not, I'm gonna just throw an alley-oop Capella Chris Collins. And so, simple basketball, simple pick and roll. He works it to the core, and so with him doing that, I think it's definitely here to stay, because when it comes to any sport, Jamar, it's not always about momentum. It's really about being smart up here, understanding what you're doing. This is why LeBron goes to the finals every year when he's healthy, because he understands the game to the core. He understands how to do the pick and roll. He understands how to, read a defense. And Trae Young, I think we got to really start giving him credit, bro, for his mental ability on the game, because he's really smart on the court. And so I'm with you. I think he definitely has a ceiling that is here to stay. All right. Suns Clippers, bro. We've been 3 games in, and thus far, Pandemic P has showed up, but he choked in game 2. Missed those 2 free throws. If not, bro, we probably look at the Clippers being up 2-1 actually. But it's not the case. Beautiful, beautiful executed alley-oop to DeAndre Ayton, who I call Mr. Fundamental 2.0. He does so many little small things right on the court. He even has the Clippers of, this is why they're up 2-0, bro. They're afraid to attack him in the basket, because they, know that he's going to, block their shot. So as a result, you got the Clippers really shooting a lot of jump shots. With this series, though, just your thoughts. And I need a pick for this series as well. Somebody got to win.
Yep. I mean, you're right. You're right as far as last game. Paul George hit some free throws. I mean, we could definitely be looking at this series different. Even game 1, they had an opportunity there, and
Yeah. Great game, yeah. Great game.
But that's their MO, go down 0-2, and the Clippers turn on. They actually ready to show up to the series when they down 0-2. And the way that they played in game 3, it personally for me, it changed my whole perception of the whole series, because I felt like they kind of dominated that game, especially in the second half. In the second half, they dominated that game. And you got contributions from Reggie Jackson. We calling him Mr. June right now, because that man has just been consistent. He's been like the second.
He's always been a pretty good player, man. He's always been a pretty good player, if you ask me.
He's been
just really under the radar,
He has. He's been a solid player for a number of years. But now it's like like him with the lights on in the biggest stage, like he's been arguably their most consistent player. If not their most, he's the second most for sure this whole
Right.
playoffs.
Mhm.
And so when you get contributions from him and Pat Beverly looks refreshed ever since Luka happened. Paul George is, for the most part has been coming through for that team. Terrence Mann been playing well. Zubac getting you some quality minutes when he's in the game. That man has 16 boards in game 3. And so the way that they play and the way that Ty Lue makes these adjustments, once again, I didn't know how good of a coach Ty Lue was because he had LeBron for so long, but this right here has been a masterpiece for the man. This right here, if you had any doubts about Ty Lue as a coach, it's definitely going way out the window right now.
Bro, just really quickly, and
yeah,
Ty Lue for me, I think is going to be one of the best head coaches in the NBA. You got to look at his resume, bro. He's only been to the finals every year as a head coach. I mean, I know it was LeBron with him, but I'm just saying there possibly was some coaching involved in that some way, somehow. And so I think this guy is a phenomenal coach, and I think his greatness, bro, is leading to more black head coaches being hired. Of course, just outside of the normal environment and folks saying, hey, we need to get more black head coaches. But I think them seeing right now Monty Williams, Nate McMillan, and Ty Lue being all in the conference finals, guaranteed with a black head coach from the West in the finals. And then if Nate McMillan pull out, the series against Milwaukee, we could have a black head coach, 2 black head coaches in the NBA finals. And so I'm thinking it's just leading to other hires. And so we'll get into Ime Udoka. We'll get into Jason Kidd. And then now it's rumored that Chauncey Billups is a front runner up in Portland.
No, he actually landed the job late last night.
He did. Oh, wow. Yep. There we go. Congrats to Chauncey.
Absolutely. And so, like, what you're saying about Ty Lue is absolutely right. And so, man, if I'm Phoenix, I better get my act together quickly. I know Devin Booker with the mask on maybe made him uncomfortable, but him shooting 5 of 21, that's not gonna get it done. Like if the Phoenix Suns want to continue to hold a grasp on this series and maybe handle business, like Devin Booker gonna have to like fight through that mask and that nose situation and get it done. I mean, Chris Paul, I didn't expect Chris Paul to have a great offensive game coming back, but I definitely expected him to, have an impact in the second half and in the fourth quarter, and that never happened because the Clippers just basically started to run away with the game. Mm-hmm. So game 4 is a dangerous game for the Suns. I tell you this much, if the Clippers win game 4, Clippers winning this series.
If I'm kind of with you. If the Clippers win game 4, they could win the series in 7. I don't see Phoenix laying an egg again. I think eventually they will make adjustments and, expose Paul George and expose, as they have been this entire series, Zubac. He's been great. He had a great game 3, but he's been struggling with DeAndre Ayton, and this has been a difference in the series, bro. It legitimately has. Devin Booker, I don't bet on him, Jamar, going 5 from 23 from the field again. I don't bet on him going 5 from 23 from the field again. I think Devin Booker is definitely one of the young studs in this league, and I do not bet on him having a similar performance as anybody that knows sports, anybody that knows basketball. Know damn well that Devin Booker is not going to go 5 for 23 from the field as he did in game 3, and then repeat that in game 4, and then repeat it in game 5. No. It's very unlikely. He will come back game 4 bombing. Not only will he come back bombing, I expect Chris Paul to kind of get his legs under him a little bit more, and solidify his position, of course, as one of the all-time greats, and continue to solidify that. And I think when it comes to the other guys, such as the Jay Crowders, such as the Mikal Bridges, A big key in this series is our brother Cameron Payne, because he was out game 3, Jamar. He was not in the game in game 3. Cameron Payne was injured and he left the game 4 minutes in. Game 1, he pretty much, well, game 2 and game 1. But game 2, he had a stellar performance, 29 points, 9 assists. This is your backup point guard. 29 points, 9 assists from your backup point guard. So Cameron Payne is definitely a baller. And if Cameron Payne can show up, this literally changes the whole dynamic of the series. I just want to repeat to you, Jamar, Cameron Payne is a very important key to this series because game 3, he was out, he was injured. Game 2, he hit him with 29 points and 9 assists. Okay? That's your backup point guard, okay? And he came in scoring immediately when he got in game 3. And so do I expect Devin Booker to have a similar performance as he did in game 3? No. A great player like him, a member mentality like him, it's going to take hell and high water for him to literally repeat the same thing he did in game 3. He's going to come out bombing game 4. And so, Jamar, I got news for you, brother. I think that the Clippers will drop game 4. I believe that Phoenix will come out bombing and show the world why they are literally dominating pretty much this playoffs. I do not expect them to drop game 4. And if they drop game 4, I definitely don't expect them to drop game 5. I don't. Because once again, the scoring is just too special. It's too special. And you can defend and you can do all these things, but the scoring is too special. But, you know, with great scoring, it'll have some nights off. That's just, it happens, especially in basketball, especially in the playoffs. But I think, yeah, man, I think Phoenix wins this series, bro, in 6 games. Because if Kawhi don't come back, which, I mean, shout out to the NBA for giving us a timeline or an update on his damn injury. Do you know of anything going on with him? I haven't heard anything.
The only thing I may or may not know is ACL sprain, but that's, once again, I don't think that's really confirmed. But other than that, I don't have a clue.
Right. They haven't given us any update on this. I mean, I would think, like, you know, this is the Western Conference Finals. Like, you do want to kind of give us an update on this, man. Like, it's pretty important to give us an update on what's going on with Kawhi Leonard. You know, I don't know what's going on, man. So as a result, I'm kind of banking that he's not playing. And if Chris Paul's playing, and you know, I know Devin Booker took that hit. And shout out to Patrick Beverly, West Side of Chicago, for being rough in this series, punching people, doing whatever he got to do, throwing people on the ground. He has literally been that bully on the court in a lot of ways. And it has, in a lot of ways, kind of changed things for this entire series. It kind of kept this team relevant. This has been 3 fun games. It will get funner and things will continue to evolve as the series goes on. But I think Phoenix will bounce back in game 4. And I just see Devin Booker cooking. I see him cooking a whole pot of stew. And anybody that kind of wants to get cooked, throw him in the pot. That's the mentality I think we'll have with Devin Booker game 4. Yep. So you never gave us your pick for this series, bro.
Oh, I'm taking the Clips in 7.
Wow. All right. I would love to see that, man. I would love, you know, let's just hit on the storylines, y'all, really quickly. What a great story it would be, right, if Chris Paul get his first, right? This would be phenomenal. LeBron won't even trip, right? He won't even trip because nobody will really trip. Like, you know, Chris Paul get his first, like, this would be phenomenal. Let's be this, like, finally, you know, he really solidified himself as just the Mount Rushmore. He's already did that already, but getting that ring would just solidify. Giannis and the Bucks, man, like them getting that first, like, and Giannis getting his first, like, you know, he get his first, man, he might try to be like, man, I'm finna get greedy with it now. Yep. And so that would be phenomenal, right? Like if his brother got his with the Lakers last year, although his brother didn't play much, but he get his first, that would just be tremendous. Would it be phenomenal, man, if the Clippers, okay, the Clippers Not only after LA Lakers won the championship last year, but then the Clippers come back and win it this year.
Bruh.
That'd just be so dope, man. And then on top of that, Rondo winning last year with the Lakers, then coming back winning this year. Then he'll put himself into history, bro, because he'll be one of the 5 players to win a championship with 3 different teams. No, it'll be 6 now. No, Kawhi's already on that list because he won with the no, Kawhi will be on
He'll
that
be
list
added
too.
to that list too. Yeah.
He'll be added to that list too because it'll be the Spurs, the Raptors, and the Clippers.
Yep.
This will be phenomenal. Then Pandemic P would turn from Pandemic P to Playoff P. And Ty Lue would solidify himself as one of the greatest coaches, I think, of all time if he win this championship. Because it's not easy. And winning, going to the finals again, bro, like this will literally be his 5th NBA season and 4th, and 4 NBA finals appearances. It ain't bad. So, I can't think of too many white head coaches that have done that. Can you? Get my point exactly. And so with my boy Ty Lue, this will be a phenomenal story. As far as the Hawks, me and Jamar are not trying to count the Hawks out. But we don't see them winning the championship. If they do, it would just be like, man, shout out to injuries for this playoffs. Shout out to anything can happen at any given Sunday, or any given moment. It'll be phenomenal to see. And Trae Young win the championship, like, wow, who expected that? And so, it has been an injury-riddled playoff.
Man, if Trae Young wins, you know how much pressure will be on Luka to get it done.
Oh, man, exactly. Whole lot of pressure. It'll be a lot of pressure on a lot of cats. And he win, a lot of them should be able to say to themselves, like, if he won, how the hell come I can't? Like, exactly. For real. It's going to be a lot of cats in the gym. Whole lot. And so these are all potential storylines, but, we'll let y'all know eventually when that championship series is set. We'll let y'all know whose storyline we like the best. All right, let's talk about another storyline that's sad. The Sixers collapse. Mr. Ben Simmons, and of course, people have been putting blame on Doc Rivers. But Doc Rivers, for me, Jamar, he can't play on the basketball court. He can't get on the court. It takes the players to execute. And so, with Mr. Ben Simmons, bro, I was watching the game, man, and I was watching game 7, bro. The man literally spent off, had the layup right in his hand. I didn't even hear the comments. I had headphones in my ear listening to music, but I'm sitting there screaming at the TV the whole time, like, Ben Simmons, that's a goddamn layup. What are you doing? And then he passed it to the Thibault, yep. And he eventually gets fouled and go miss. It was unbelievably terrible. It was tough to watch. And so, if you are the GM for the Philadelphia 76ers, Jamar, what do you do with Ben Simmons?
So if I'm Elton Brand right now,
right?
I know him and Daryl Morey and Rich Paul and Ben Simmons met in Chicago yesterday, I think, or the day before.
Oh, they were in Chicago?
Yep. They had a meeting discussing, the future of Ben Simmons with the organization. So if I'm, Elton Brand in that meeting, I'm like, look, I'm at a legitimate crossroads here. Ben Simmons has regressed. And it's crazy because I was watching shortly after that game, game 7, there's a whole bunch of memes and videos out there just clowning Ben Simmons. But there was actually one that I forgot about, was him in Summer League. When he first got in the league, Summer League, he was actually taking jump shots, mid-range, 16, 17, 18 footers, and was hitting them not at a high clip, but he was occasionally hitting them like he was Giannis.
Right.
And the biggest difference between the two of them, Giannis would still come down and have confidence and do his thing. His confidence does not drop. Ben Simmons,
as a superstar and with that money, goddamn it, your confidence should not waver at all.
At all.
33 million per year.
Dude, Like, how do you become so much of a liability at shooting that you can't even hit the free ones? Like you're petrified to get fouled and go to the line.
I'm not even smiling, bro. My face just gonna be like this when you talk about Ben Simmons.
Dude, I mean, as it should. This is like serious. This is a serious like thing, and like okay, of course the easy route, like all right, let's get rid of him. But dude, like, what value do you have on Ben Simmons right now to trade and actually get what you want in return? Somebody is
With him hitting them shots, who the hell want that?
exactly. And so
Like
if you gonna
with
get
him, the way he's shooting.
like, who gonna give up like an actual premium for the guy? You
Right.
gonna get him on like 30 cents to the dollar at this point.
And then on top of that, paid 33 million. And just quickly, bro, the salary cap for the Sixers, y'all, next year it would be out of the 112.6 million, bro. 100.6 go to him and B and Tobias Harris. They all 30 million up, all three of them.
So basically, they're stuck unless they accept the trade that's just gonna be pennies on the dollar. They're stuck. And so at this point, I honestly, I would not trade him. I would do everything in my power to rehabilitate that man and his confidence and get him back to at least where he was like a couple years ago, to where I'm like, taking the shot and my confidence is not wavered by it, but also not only taking the shot, but, trying to improve that shot. It's like something has to give. Like you are at an impasse. Like you are like at a halfway point at purgatory. Like what? Like this franchise, like the process is killed. So where are we at now? Like you're gonna have to redevelop a whole game plan. I mean, they missed their championship window when they let Jimmy Butler go and kept Tobias Harris. That was their real window. And I know they had an opportunity this year, but me and you both knew the winner of the Bucks Nets series was probably going to the finals. That was the real Eastern Conference Finals there, just based on how everything was developing. So, I mean, Ben Simmons, you are elite passer, you are elite defender, you are above average to borderline elite rebounder, but none of that means anything if you don't even attempt to take a jump shot or can't hit free throws. At least hit the free ones. If you can hit the free ones, it wouldn't be as bad. If you hit the free ones, there would not be a Hacker-Ben. Atlanta would not have the opportunity to come back in that series the way they
wouldn't even be in
at all.
Series be over in 6 games.
It would. And my last point, like you said, it's not on Doc Rivers. I know Doc has been part of the most, like a lot of collapses, and Lack Rivers has definitely earned that title. But at the end of the day, this one is not primarily on him. This
ain't on Lack Rivers. No, it's not.
No, it's on Ben Simmons, bro. And I heard he's like, hard to coach, and he's babied and he don't listen to anybody.
Yeah, I heard that about
that is really the case. Then I mean, that's all mental and attitude right there. Like how the willingness to get better. If you don't, want to get coached and have tough love, then you can only go so far. So
facts. And that's the thing with Ben Simmons, very, very cocky at times too, man. And that's part of his problem. Him and Anthony Davis, man, they must have went to the Bahamas over the whole entire damn offseason because they ain't put in no work.
No.
I mean, no work at all. Like, literally got their money and just went to the Bahamas or the West Indies or something, just chilled the whole time, and they do nothing. Like, this is exactly what happened here. Because my boy Ben Simmons, man, him coming to Chicago, maybe, hey, you're a brick machine, but hey, we'll take you in Chicago because we can put you with Zach LaVine, we can put you with our boy Vujovic, and we can have Cody White come off the bench, or you can come to Chicago, play small forward for us. You know what I'm saying? So we always welcome you here.
As long as we get you on pennies on the dollar, we'll take it. Pennies on the dollar only.
I mean, man, as far as the jump shot, you got to work on that. I mean, it's God. Just when I think about the money, and I think about how he all on the court trying to grab the ball and be tough and all that, I'm sitting there saying to myself, like, Negro, what are you doing? You sitting there trying to be tough on the basketball court. You need to be working on your jump shot. you need to be worried about hitting some jump shots on the offensive end because Trae Young is lighting you up. Like, I know you're a great defender, but, great defense in the NBA, bro, can only take you so far. Because at the end of the day, me and Jamar, great defense will always be outlasted by great offense.
Yeah, you're right.
And once you get a guy cooking, it's like good luck, especially you get a superstar cooking, get a mad and stuff like, they cook on you. And so like when it comes to my boy Ben Simmons, man, what a regression. That's bad. Like, this kid's supposed to be, he could be a LeBron James 2.0 if he get a jump shot, but he, going to the Bahamas and chilling and stuff. Yep. And so he got a lot of work to do this offseason. Philly, you're right, man. I don't trade him just because of all the money involved. He does at least keep you relevant in the East, right? But boy, he got to look at the man in the mirror. He seriously do. And Joel Embiid and all of them, I know they not happy with him. Like, I know they pissed off at him. Like, Shaq even said it, man. He said if I was in a locker room with him, I would have knocked this out. He said that clean on TNT. And, it went viral and everything. And so I know he was ticked off. I mean, Charles Barkley ticked off. Shaq ticked off. Everybody just ticked off. Like, seriously, and you robbed us of a conference finals we was looking forward to. But shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. They score the ball tremendously. So they were going to find a way to beat you, especially if you don't hit shots, which is exactly what they did not do. Shout out to the collapse in game 4 and game 5, bro. Like, these are collapses. These point differential collapses are all-time epic. Game 5 was all-time epic. You're up by 15 with 4 minutes left. You should win that game. You should at least just dribble the ball, Jamar. You just do a quick little math here, right? 48 seconds. You know what I'm saying? That at least like hold you for at least a good 3-4 minutes, but they go down and be undisciplined. They see Trae Young score and they go down and score again. And so before you know it, boom, you got a game. And so Atlanta Hawks definitely outplayed them. But Ben Simmons, his future, we'll take you in Chicago, man. But as far as anyone else and you find in the trade market, it's going to be really tough. You got a lot of looking in the mirror to do this summer. It's going to be a long off season for that brother, a long off season.
It is. I guess he's okay with being Evan Turner 3.0 instead of LeBron James 2.0. I mean, that's fine. Just, just stay away at that point. But
right. All right. Thanks, Jamar, for the edit. So Jason Kidd hired by Mavs as head coach. Chauncey Billups hired by Blazers as head coach. And Celtics hired Ime Udoka as head coach. Do you like these hires, brother?
Yes, and yes. So let's start with Jason Kidd. So as we know, Jason Kidd, he's accomplished, Hall of Famer, one of the best point guards in NBA history, NBA champion with the Dallas Mavericks. And so, Luka, at this point, Luka's probably going to be under the spotlight because Rick Carlisle, who is well respected across the league, Mark Cuban loves the guy, but Rick Carlisle stepped down. We're learning that there's been, frictions between him and Luka just.
But it was time for a change, Jamar.
Maybe so.
After a voice been there for 10 plus years, 15 years, and you done been to the playoffs, 6 out of the last 10 years, and all first round exits. After a while, I know he's excellent. After a while, you just need a new head coach. Shout out to Rick Carlisle, who just got hired by Indiana. So he'll be up there in your area, brother. He'll be in the Central Division with our Bulls. But, yeah, I just think it was time for a new voice. Been there too long.
I'm not. No, you're definitely not wrong. Because after a while, voice gets stagnant, just like a lot of other things. I get it.
Any sport.
Yeah, and so with Jason Kidd, I feel like he definitely brings a different perspective. Maybe he can relate more to Luka since, Luka is the ball handler and making the offense, and Jason Kidd was the ultimate playmaker. And so as long as Luka is willing to be coached and actually listens to Jason Kidd and actually accepts the new voice going forward, then we would definitely see growth. I feel like Jason Kidd, I mean, has been an above average head coach overall. I know when he first got his first coaching job, it was with that Brooklyn Nets team that just had like past prime superstars and stuff, and he can only do so much with that. I feel like his greatest coaching was with Milwaukee when he was the one who told Giannis like, "Hey, you're gonna run the offense."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, and that was like one of the newer things at the time. Like somebody that size running the offense, like how's this gonna work? And then all of a sudden, the birth of the Greek Freak was born.
Yep.
And so
That was Jason Kidd's best.
that
Yeah.
was, and Giannis loved Jason Kidd. Giannis didn't want
Mm-hmm.
Jason Kidd to get fired. And
Right.
so,
I feel like he even shortchanged a lot of his career, unfortunately, too.
yep. And so
Yeah.
with him being on that Lakers staff, especially last year, helped them guide them to a title, and his name has always been buzzing around again. So I'm happy for him. Mark Cuban is probably the best owner in basketball. I love Mark Cuban, so I think this is going to be a great fit. Chauncey Billups with Damian Lillard, I feel like that's probably the next best option since he couldn't get Jason Kidd. I feel like he gets somebody who understands the position that he's in. Chauncey Billups once again is a champion. Chauncey Billups is very smart. Chauncey Billups should have had a front office job.
Yep. Should have.
But I think Damian Lillard will respect and love Chauncey Billups just because he's been there before. He know what it takes to be a champion. He know what needs to be done. So Chauncey Billups, I don't think he's gonna play games. With anybody on that roster that's not gonna get it done, I think you're gonna see a lot more moves this offseason with that team.
Mm-hmm.
Chauncey Billups is definitely gonna do everything in his power to make sure that Portland is a serious contender. So I like that. And then lastly with Idoku, look, first thing first. Anybody that is attached to Nia Long, I'm all for it. First and foremost.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That is his wife.
Yep. And so, second thing is, I remember him
That's not enough
playing
milk.
as a Spur
Go ahead. I'm listening.
for about 10 years now, a majority of the time with Popovich. So he's from the Greg Popovich tree.
That's all the milk you're getting.
And so, just with him having that experience and then coming from Brooklyn over, I feel like he's experienced. He's been around superstars. He's been around greatness. He won as well as an assistant coach with the 2014 Spurs. So he knows what it takes. And the fact that Brad Stevens was able to point that out and get somebody that fits probably the philosophy, but also has the experience and the winning mindset to probably get these guys to the next level. I feel like that's a great fit as well. So I'm loving all three hires.
I'm loving them too, man. I'm loving the hire in Indiana. I don't think that they'll be conference champions, but I do think that they can be a respectable team that can fight for a second round playoff berth. In regards to Ume Udoka, I like the hire. I think that he's a very solid hire and that he's great in a number of ways just because he comes from the Greg Popovich coaching tree. And so that's like super vital, him coming from that coaching tree. So he'll have just a lot of crucial experience and crucial moments. And then it's not bad to have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? I do think it was time for Kemba Walker to go. Different things like that. But I do hope that they keep Jabari Parker, Jamar. Jabari Parker still can ball, man. And him even coming off the bench is very dangerous. The boy can put up some buckets. And so I think you definitely try to keep him and keep him on the bench for 30 cents to $1. In regards to Chauncey Billups, great hire as well. The West, man, would just be so loaded. Oh, my goodness. Great head coaches, I think, and great players. And so Portland, their future is always just bright as long as Damian Lillard's on that court. But Dallas, bro, with Jason Kidd, right? Like, this is the big one because with Dallas and Luka Doncic, he's only 22. His ceiling is Mars. Like, his ceiling is Jupiter. And so, just keeping I don't even know. You add maybe another piece. I don't know what piece they really need, Jamar, but they probably could use one more solid score and put that along with what they have. And that team could definitely be a team that could fight for the conference finals. Although the West is just that loaded, it's that competitive. But who knows? Who's the can't say that they can't overcome some things and maybe knock out a Phoenix out the picture next year, or knock out a Denver out the picture next year and be in that second round. It's very open.
I mean, it is. They do need another piece. I am thinking of another perimeter scorer that can also play defense, but that can get you 15 to 20 a night. But I think more importantly for Luka, because the knock on him that we're hearing that he dominates the ball, and I get that because he's great.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to elevate, you're gonna have to let your teammates do more, make it easier for them, let the game come to you instead of forcing the game. I mean, he can get his own, but it's like if you want your team to excel, it's like you could probably easily get an extra 10 to 15 points per game per team if you get the ball moving a lot more.
Right. Absolutely. So shout out to all three of these head coaches. I'm excited to see 3 black hires. And I'm not done. I want to see more because these guys really know the game a lot better than a lot of these white guys. Let's get away from this crappy tradition of just hiring white guys because they're white, or you feel like they're more book smart or technically smarter. No, you need to get guys that played the game, who knows the game, and who can relate. And so
exactly. And one thing I want to point out, there's still a few more jobs open, and I feel like the best fit for one of the teams is Penny Hardaway and Orlando Magic. If that can make that happen,
oh man, that would be phenomenal.
And there's rumors, let's make that happen, please.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that because that job is open. It's a good one too. All right, and so let's now talk about Jamar, some news, the Brooklyn Nets future, and let's play GM.
All right.
So Jamar, what do you do with this team in order to win a championship next season? I don't know if you've heard, but it was kind of shocking to me. But there's reports out of New York that they are open to breaking up the big three and putting in some more pieces in place of Kyrie Irving.
Gotcha. I think I slightly heard that too. So here's the deal. We know that James Harden and Kevin Durant works. Those two work. The mesh between the two, that's perfect. And so I guess Kyrie, if you had to separate any of the three to do stuff, it would be Kyrie. Because technically he's expendable, but for me, I haven't seen enough of them all together to even make that call yet. But
right.
what I will say though, because he's not gonna come back.
You say who's not coming back?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh yeah, and I forgot about him. That would have been nice to have. That's true.
Yeah.
It would have been vital for him. It would have been very important. That's true.
Exactly. And so I know my friends, my screen is frozen, but I'll fix that after this.
We can hear you though. We can hear you.
All right. And so I feel like they need scoring off the bench. That's their biggest thing to me. Because they could score night and day.
Night and day.
I feel like absolutely. You still need somebody. They need a real 6-man to come in there and get you 15 a night type deal. That's what I feel like. Because you don't really have to do much of anything. You have the star power. It's there already. If it wasn't for injuries, I'm pretty sure Brooklyn would be cakewalking to the finals and hoisting the trophy next month.
Right.
So, absolutely. You don't have to tweak much, but for players like Joe Harris to, not be on the spotlight and getting killed and cooked by everybody for you missing all those shots. Blake Griffin played excellent, but outside of that, what?
That's all they had.
Yeah, exactly. So you need that punch. And Miami with the Heatles, you had Mike Miller coming in and just draining threes. Golden State, you had Sean Livingston and a couple of guys that came in and played vital minutes and, did their thing. And so now it's in Brooklyn, you didn't have that. You basically had a gassed tired Kevin Durant pulling the whole weight. And
Right.
even if the injuries occurred, if you still had that guy coming off the bench to help get your buckets like that, to take pressure off of Kevin Durant, then we might not even be having a conversation.
True. Because the winner of that series is gonna go to the finals. I had a good chance to win it all.
Okay.
But Milwaukee pulled it out. But when it comes to Brooklyn, man, hell no, I don't break up that big three. Jamar, no, I do not break up that big three. I keep that big three together as much as I can. I do whatever I have to do in order to keep those guys together. But when it comes to legitly that big three, I don't care whatever I have to do. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what my brothers say, anybody. I do my best to keep that big three and that nucleus together. I do not break that up for absolutely nothing. I keep those three cats together because I know at the end of the day, they definitely give me the best championship possibility by far of all teams in the NBA. And so I keep that big three together no matter what. When it comes to other pieces, yes, they need another piece, but not really. You don't really even have to spend that much money. If you get a healthy Spencer Dinwiddie, he can be that piece that can come off the bench and get you 10 to 15 a night. And you put that along with, just everything else you got going. With Joe Harris, who can be streaky, Bruce Brown, who's a defender, Blake Griffin, who has gotten back to playing great Blake Griffin basketball. You got pieces there. Even if you keep a DeAndre Jordan, you keep him because you can keep a defense honest. You keep him because he can do an alley hoop and he can get his alley hoop buckets that he's got his whole entire career. I don't think the Nets have to do nothing, world. I think the Nets keep their nucleus, bring Spencer Dinwiddie back healthy, and that's pretty much it. And everything else for that team literally should fall straight into its place, and they should legitly be a championship contender as they have been for many, many years. I don't think it's too much you can do with that nucleus. The team will be, Jamar, one of the best teams in the NBA next season. And I do have them, if we have 82 games, I think, Jamar, the Brooklyn Nets lose at most 12 to 15 games. They'll be flirting with 70 games next year. If this Brooklyn Nets team is healthy, they'll be flirting with 70 wins next season easily, because that's how legit they are. And so, no, I don't break up that nucleus. So yes, all right. Shout out to the Chicago Sky Brother on an impressive win streak. They are winners of 8 straight. And Candace Parker coming back has made this team look like the team we thought they could be. And so keep it up, Chicago Sky. Shout out to Diamond DeShields, Candace Parker. Everybody that's on that team that's literally hooping. Shout out to Diamond DeShields, who just literally proven that her injury last year could have very well allowed us, if she wasn't injured, to possibly be in the WNBA Finals last year. So they're back, bro. They're back legitly. And lastly, shout out to the Chicago Cubs, Abigail, for a no-hitter with multiple pitches, bro. This was extremely impressive and wonderful to see, as well as the Chicago White Sox, who has been on a slump because they've been on the road a whole lot lately, playing a lot of great baseball teams. And so any thoughts, Shamar, from the Chicago Sky, from the Cubs, or from the White Sox?
Man, as far as the Sky, I'm loving the energy that I see, the camaraderie from the team. Like that team has like the it factor to possibly get it done this year. So I'm loving that they're, clicking on all cylinders. I noticed, I guess there's going to be a break in the action next month. I guess that's due to the Olympics and stuff, I would assume.
Yeah.
And so, they'll come back refreshed. Hopefully the hot streak doesn't wear off by then. But I mean, they're handling business. They're not too far off from the top spot in the whole league. So hey, I'm loving it. Cubs, I mean, that was impressive. And the funny thing was the last guy that was pitching, I don't know his name, but he didn't even realize what was going on. And so that's probably the beauty of it. The fact that he just came out there, did his job, and then he didn't realize until after the fact when the catchers started celebrating and stuff. So that is awesome. And as far as, my Sox, man, they will get it together. I mean, injuries and it's a season of peaks and valleys at times. I get it.
Right.
The fact that they're still winning the division despite everything that's going through, that lets me know how dangerous this team will be when it's all said and done. So I'm just patiently just waiting and getting to the right moments. Get to September until October baseball here.
Right. Sox still got to get that bullpen together.
Yep.
Future is I won't say it's bright, but the windows now. But the Cubs do have veterans, Jamar. They do have pitching. They have formulas for winning baseball in October. They do. And so the White Sox are a scary team as well. But the White Sox guys, they need to get their health. They need to get better pitching, and they need to get their stars back. That's one thing about the Sox thing. Like you say, Jamar, they're not even fully healthy. They get fully healthy, you watch out for that thing.
Exactly.
So it's a bright future definitely for the White Sox. Chicago Sky, Kalea Cooper, everybody else that's doing that thing. Keep that streak up, man. It's wonderful for the league. It's wonderful for Chicago. It's wonderful for the fans. And so it's very, very interesting and fun to watch. And so with that being said, world, we thank you all for tuning in with us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Just want to, let you guys know to have a great and blessed weekend on our final thoughts and shout outs. Be safe out there. I think it will be some rain today and different things, but still another beautiful day that the Lord has made. So rejoice and be glad in it. And so thank you all for tuning in with us. And so, Jamar, do you have any final thoughts and shout outs as we head into this weekend?
Yeah, so one thing I definitely want to point out here. Shout out to sports broadcaster Marv Albert. This is his last season calling
the
Eastern Conference Finals. Going to be the last that we'll hear of him. I mean, he has been he like indirectly has been a part of my childhood. Growing up, watching the Bulls in the 90s, all I hear in my head is a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. That's like him calling the games on NBC when it was like NBA on NBC. For ones that don't remember, like the NBA on NBC was everything to me. Like that's better than ABC, ESPN, TNT. Like the NBA on NBC was like a Sunday thing that I used to sit down and watch with my dad. The Bulls would come on and play. Who knows, the Pacers or the Knicks or some Western Conference powerhouse, the Lakers or something. It just with Marv Albert, calling the games. It just seemed like everything was perfect. Like everything just flew. It just flew smoothly. Like that was part of my childhood. And to see him to retire here this year is like it's not surprising, but it's still like, man, like I'm getting old. Like, but yeah,
yes.
Salute, man.
Yep, that is awesome, man. Yes, congrats to Marv Albert on his retirement. We'll definitely remember to shout that out next weekend as well, because I don't think the conference finals will be over next weekend. Probably be over the following week. And so, very interesting stuff there, man. And so, all right. Well, in that case, we thank you all for tuning in with us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Everyone have a blessed and relaxed day. And we will see you guys next weekend. Peace, everybody.
Peace out.
All right. Appreciate it, my brother.